Hello and welcome to my garden. I thought for this first video, as the first video on my channel, I would start with a full garden tour to show you exactly what I've got going on in my garden this year. This is actually my first year gardening, and I think I probably went a little bit overboard for my first year. But I'm loving gardening. It's created such a relaxing stress release for me. It's a great way to relieve that stress and anxiety. It's a great way to get outdoors every day. I'm just loving it. So come along with me, join me in my garden, and let's go on a walk together and see what I've got going on. This is actually what I call my deck garden. I have a few plants growing in grow bags and containers here on the deck. Basically because I've run out of space in my garden. My garden is all made up of full raised beds. Nothing is planted in the ground. Everything is in a raised bed or a grow bag or some sort of container. So starting on the deck, we just have a couple of simple things, but everything is so lush and green. I'm loving it. Starting here in this planter, we've got a little bit of basil, we've got some tiny tomatoes sprouting at the bottom, and then growing up this bamboo trellis is some cucumber plants. And excitingly enough, we've got some baby cucumbers on here, so they should be ready to harvest in a couple of weeks. Then in this planter here, we've got some bush beans and they're flowering, and we've got some beans just starting to come on this plant. Climbing up the trellis in the back is another cucumber plant. And behind here in the grow bag down here, we've got some scarlet runner beans and yellow pole beans. And these beans, the scarlet runners, get tall, and they've climbed all the way up the pole and all over my deck. The next bag over, we've got some squash, and I've actually got 3 different squash plants planted in this planter, along with a marigold that is now getting shaded out by the leaves. But there's tons of male flowers on this plant, and if we go along to the other side, we've got some zucchinis growing, so I can't wait to be able to harvest these. I see 3. We've got 1, 2, 3. So exciting. This is one of my 4 raised bed planters. It's planted right in front of my upper deck here, to the left of the lower deck. This planter, we've got all kinds of things in here, from beans, climbing up the scarlet runner beans, climbing up this pole, and we've got another type of bean climbing up this pole. We've got some massive tomato plants growing. They're 8 or 9 feet tall, climbing right up to the top of the deck in the back. Behind the tomato plants, believe it or not, we've got some more cucumbers also climbing up the back of the deck. I harvested some cucumbers this morning, but we've got plenty more on this plant. So they're doing quite well, but they're definitely getting shaded out by the tomatoes. In the front here, we had a hot wax pepper, which I've harvested from. I'm hoping to get some more off of that plant. And we've got some peppers here. And we've also got some sweet peppers over here. Tons coming on down here. As well as some sugar snap peas. Now I find it's probably a little bit too warm in the summer for the sugar snap peas. The ones that I have on my deck are definitely not doing as well. You can tell the bottom of the plant is burning out from the sun. But we've also got some hot peppers that are doing just lovely and starting to turn red. And this tomato plant on the deck is loving this spot. Over here in this grow bag, I'm trying my hand at a sugar baby watermelon and some cantaloupe. And if I'm not mistaken, we do have some tiny baby sugar baby watermelons coming on this plant. I'm hoping that they grow into nice watermelons. Tons of flowers on the cantaloupe plant, but no cantaloupe yet. In this little bed here, this is the smallest raised bed in my garden. It's also the newest built raised bed that I did this summer. But we've got some squash in the corner, some kale in the front, a few peppers here that I planted that are growing nicely, as well as some peas. This raised bed here was the first garden I built this summer for my vegetable gardens. This gets sun most of the day, so this I would consider as a full sun garden. And right here in the front is a green zucchini. I've harvested so many zucchini off this plant. It's been wonderful. I not long ago, a few weeks ago, planted some more peas back here. We've been harvesting tons of tomatoes off of these plants, and I just got my first green pepper here on this plant. I'm really excited about it. Coming along here, we've got some beans climbing up these poles. They're just starting to flower and produce tiny beans. We've also got a cucumber in the back. We've harvested tons of cucumbers off of here, and there's a few more growing. We also just recently harvested a yellow zucchini off of this plant, and there's tons more zucchini to come. Then over here, I'm trying my hand at some smaller pumpkins, and believe it or not, there's tons of male flowers, but there's also a tiny little pumpkin. I'm so excited, and the kids are probably most excited about this one. This is the planter in my backyard at the back of my yard, one of the last ones to go in. However, in the last month, the green and the growth that has happened in this planter is insane to me. We have a ton of Tiny Tim tomatoes and smaller variety tomatoes in here, as well as some beans and some peppers. We have a few radishes growing in the front. They're nice and spaced out. I think there's 11 or 12 radishes growing in there. I'm also trying my hand at some broccoli. I'm not sure how it's going to do because our heat temperatures are still quite high here, but they seem to be doing quite well. And then we also have another beautiful squash. I'm also trying my hand at a few fruit plants. So here we've got some blackberries and some raspberries. I had no fruit this year, but I do know that they will come back again next year, and the longer they're around, the bigger and bushier and fruitier they become. Over here along the side of the backyard, I have another small garden of blueberries. Again, no blueberries on this plant, but we'll see what happens next year. There's 3 or 4 different varieties of blueberries here. And lastly, I'm actually trying my hand at growing some vegetables in hanging baskets. Again, this is my first year gardening, so everything is trial and error here. I have learned a ton in the last 3 months. I've been following some people on Instagram and on YouTube, and it's been very helpful to find a community of people to give me tips and tricks to get my gardens started. So in this hanging basket here, I'm trying some Space Master cucumbers. It's a smaller variety of cucumber, and they should just vine down over this basket. So we'll see how that goes. And then in this hanging basket here, I'm trying some sugar snap peas. And again, the weather's been just a little bit warm for peas, but they seem to be doing quite well in this basket, and I've harvested a ton of peas off these plants. One of the things that I'll be harvesting very, very soon is this white star eggplant. There's 2 growing on this plant. I've already harvested 3 of these off this plant. It's been such a productive plant for me. I'm loving it. I've never tried a white star eggplant before, and they're so sweet and so delicious. We grilled them. I also have this small patio garden going on the upper deck, and these are all plants and herbs that are planted in planters and grow bags. Things that I like to be able to come out right from the kitchen door to grab quickly when I'm cooking. So we've been growing tons and tons of lettuce. I've got some romaine in this grow bag here, tons of kale and Swiss chard, more kale and Swiss chard over here, lots of herbs. We've got mint, oregano, sage, chives, basil, a little bit of dill sprouting, rosemary, parsley. You can never go wrong and not have enough herbs. I have the herbs all over my garden. We also have strawberry plants, which have pretty much gone dormant for the season, and another box that I'm just starting to sprout some more seeds, lettuce seeds. If you are new to gardening or you've never tried gardening, I definitely suggest starting small and starting with some sort of a container or a small garden box that you can start with a few small things like lettuce and herbs to get yourself started growing some fresh vegetables. So there you have it. This is my garden. I'm loving everything about the garden. I'm out here every day just enjoying the beauty of it, the colors of it. I'm enjoying tending to it, and most importantly, I'm enjoying harvesting off of it. More importantly than that, my kids are loving harvesting and eating these vegetables with me. They're eating all the cucumbers, they're eating all the tomatoes. It's fabulous. I've never seen them eat so many tomatoes, and trust me, I'm not complaining. They can eat all of the vegetables. I hope you enjoyed this garden tour and walking around the garden with me. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button, hit the like button, and follow along with me on this journey. I can't wait to see you in my next video. Bye!